Hi, my name is Glory. I'm a third year student studying at the Bartlett School of Architecture in London, originally from Hong Kong.
And I'm Shan. I'm a third year architecture student studying at the Bartlett as well, and I'm originally from Malaysia.
You're listening to Designing Thoughts with the Archigals, a podcast where we talk about working and creativity, living well, the human condition with relationships, and life experiences.
Before we get into the podcast, I would just like to ask for a small favor. It would mean a lot to us if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or leave a comment on our YouTube channel just to let us know how you feel about the podcast and other topics you'd be interested in hearing in.
Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast, Designing Thoughts. I'm your host Gloria, and this is my co-host Shan. So today we thought we'd jump back into the podcast and share some of our thoughts because it has been really a long while. I think it's been 7 months since our last episode. And yeah, today we're going to be sharing about our thoughts on our journey in architecture school, for our final year, and just give a reflection on what we think, how school went and our thoughts, and now that we graduated and how everything went. So yeah, Yanshan, do you want to start us off?
So I guess we'll first talk about how third year went, especially compared to the first and second year, what we learned, and also I guess just think about how it went now that it's been. How long has it been since we graduated? What, 4 months? 3 months? 4 months since we graduated, which is actually a pretty long time. I feel like looking back, it'll be it's quite interesting to think about it.
That's so So would you say that we graduated in July?
Yeah, I mean, I know the ceremony was late, but I think summer show marks the end of the actual end of uni.
Oh my god, then that's
so that
true.
Was July, right?
Yeah, that's
July.
4 months.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Time flies so quickly. Yeah. Well, we can start with the huge chunk of Bartlett, which is obviously the design projects, because we did a lot of design projects, which was 2 main projects, and then obviously the first one was more of a drawing one, and then the second one was a building project. So yeah, how did you find it?
I thought the design projects were one of the best parts of the whole of the experience, I guess, of architecture school in general. I feel like you do learn a lot, especially now that I've gone into practice. I can kind of see how that's training for practice, because it's a lot more simple, but at the same time it's you have to do everything from A to Z, from going to site and then preparing and getting data and stuff, and then after that when you actually go to site you have to measure things and then you put it into the model, and then you talk to your tutors. I don't know, it feels like it was actually really useful. At the time it feels like you're doing a lot of things, and it was a bit
overwhelming.
Yeah, but right now it's I see where it come from, especially because you got to go to site this year, which is actually really nice. I like that we had a real physical site that I could see, and then could research the context, and I wasn't just designing in a vacuum
in midair.
Yeah,
actually that's interesting, because for me, well, I guess the context is that we were in different units. So I feel like each unit has its own specialty and how they like to do things in their own methodology. So for my unit, I actually didn't have a site. Well, I mean, I had a site, but it wasn't I couldn't get to access it. So in that sense, it's not the same as your experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, even though the site was not within my reach, I could still do research on it. It's just it wasn't in London, in the UK.
Yeah.
But I was really glad that I still got to do a lot of research. And then basically for me, the thing about design project that I liked so much was that I was really grateful that my tutors gave me this space to explore a methodology that I wanted to explore, which is hand drawing. And then I got to explore that medium to the extreme, basically, and how to use that as a way to explore architecture. Yeah, how did you find using different methodologies, or tutors supporting your ideas? And then how did you find
I think it was good that they encourage you to use different ways of working. Now looking back, I'm really grateful that I really got into sketching, sketch modeling as well, because I feel it's really fast and intuitive. And also I'm grateful for obviously the 3D stuff, because I like doing that stuff now, modeling in Rhino. And also I think the tutors constant the push for an image or something to be quite perfect, quite high quality, and you don't have to produce a lot, but then you have to produce something which is quite nice. And I think that was really good, because I think at work now the focus is always on making models which are neat and which are efficient, even not because like I guess we don't really get to design a lot, right, at this level yet. So it's a lot about like just like producing stuff which is like easy to work with. Yeah, that's useful.
Nice. And then the other difference is that like in third year, well, compared to like first and second year, actually second year had this as well. We had like design tech, which is kind of what we mainly focused on the previous episode. But yeah, I thought this year's design tech was really good because it gave like kind of a backbone and like research and like the tech behind, like kind of like just the content of the actual project to make it like more believable in a way.
But I mean, you obviously did really well. You got a tech. By the way, Glory won the tech prize.
Thanks.
But like I think it really gave like a good backbone for like the project as well, and it resonated with how like I prefer to do it, which is like with a basis instead of like
floaty.
Yeah.
And I think I also really liked the part of tech where they asked you to do like your own experiment. And I remember you borrowing this mic to like measure the sound frequency because you were testing with wax and everything. I just thought it was really cool to like walk around the studio and just like look at different people like testing different materials and like doing their own thing, and it was like always really cool to see.
I'm glad that our units focused on tech quite a lot because I feel like some units don't, and it's sort of like an afterthought.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess in third year they just give you like a lot more help with tech, and then the tutors were also like helpful. I suppose. I don't know if you found it helpful compared to second year.
It was helpful.
Yeah. And then obviously like the other part of school was history, which I don't think we talked a lot about during our final year for history. Like, I mean, history was like a part in first and second year always. It was always there. And we always had to write an essay, but that we never really talked about in third year. How did you find history?
I think history, like, I wish I was more personal with my topic. But then again, I think I learned quite a lot through history, and I really enjoy it. I like that we have history. Like, I like writing and reading other people's work, because I feel like a lot of times like design project and tech, it's very, even tech is like very physical. It's like very like
hands-on.
Yeah, like with your using your hands and you're thinking like in a design way instead of like in an academic way, which I kind of miss. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Like, you know how sometimes when you're just drawing so much, at least I have this, and I'm like, oh, I wish we had like exams or like writing. So I'm glad we have like the theory part and like the academic part, like you said. Actually, surprisingly that you said like you wish you focused on something more personal, because I remember last year you did something that was like more personal, maybe in your second year.
Yeah, second year I did do something which was very personal, and then it was good, but then I think I just wanted to try something new, probably.
Yeah, what did you write? In second year you wrote about Malaysia, and then third year you
wrote about film.
Film right scenes. But I still thought it was really cool that you like dissected it like frame by frame, and then you tried to analyze like each of the different films talking about architecture.
I think it was interesting like compositionally to look at, especially now, like I still think about it sometimes, like the compositions of things.
Yeah, I think for me, like history, I wrote about like colonial architecture in Hong Kong, mostly on like Queen's Pier and how it got demolished, and like the government and the public's view of colonialism, and how this is like a legacy and it's like lingering in the public's past. I mean, in Hong Kong's past. So I guess in that sense, like I did something like more personal, and I really liked it because to be fair, I feel like it's more of like they encourage you, they don't force you to do this. But then I went to lots of like different archives and like libraries to look at like maps and things related to the topic. So it was really interesting actually this year to like access these things. Obviously I think in second year we didn't get to do that because of COVID, but this year I went to the British Library and like different archives, and I just looked at the history and get to know like my hometown a lot better. So that was really interesting, and I think I would highly encourage people to do that. But I think you felt that, like, I'm sure in like your second year when you were writing about Malaysia.
That was nice. But also I think that would have been really nice, because I feel like it was very like the actual archives are quite interesting, because even the place, like the whole process of getting the archive sounds very cool.
Yeah, but overall I feel like history as a whole, like I remember in the first term we did like seminars and everything. It was also really nice because you get to talk to people about like similar topics, and then you discuss texts and stuff, and it's a nice break from like doing design work.
The seminars were nice, but I thought that last year the seminars were more like, to me they made more sense thematically, but maybe it's just because I couldn't understand like the themes of this year. I felt like this year the themes were much more esoteric. Like it was very more academic, and it was a lot about identity and things, which is fine. But I feel like in the previous years when it was about like when you discuss architecture, you write about architecture, it seemed more clear to me.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, some of the text does seem quite dense, and then like you really have to get into the mindset of doing it. But I don't know. I mean, it's academic, so yeah.
True.
I thought it'd be interesting to talk about like our relationship with like other students and tutors, especially because this was like the main difference between second year, because second year obviously was like all remote and like online, and then we talked about it like in depth in our like very first episode of this podcast. So I thought it'd be nice to talk about like how we felt this year, just in terms of like relationships, like being in person with tutors, your unit, and everything.
Yeah, I think it was a lot nicer to be in person because it's nice to have studio culture, but it's also like stressful. I remember at the start of the year I was really stressed out about it because everyone would come in every day, but I think after a while, like you get to know people better as well, and then it's not so like stressful, it's not like so competitive anymore. It's more about like just coming in and doing the work together, I guess.
Yeah, but I feel like also, I think it depends on your unit, right? Because I feel like your unit comes in like very often, and then you get that vibe of like, oh, it's like everyone comes in, so I have to come in as well and do work.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, like towards the end it got better, and then didn't you feel like your unit was more cohesive? Like you feel like an actual unit together?
I think it depends on who you find in your unit, I guess. I think I found my friends in the end, so that was really nice.
Yeah, especially with your field trip, right? Like you
that
bonded
was a cute
over
bonding experience, although it was very stressful.
Like, why?
I thought it was stressful. It was just like so much. It was like really tiring. I was really kind of exhausted afterwards.
Why? Because you were talking
like walking. Because we moved around. It's a road trip, right? So we kept moving south around, and then like I don't know. I think it was just like tiring to have to constantly be in the company of other people. I always find that tiring. So.
Okay, no, it's just in general. Okay, makes sense. For me, obviously I think third year was like the best year, you know, out of like out of the whole undergraduate course. Like compared to second year being remote, like you said, Yanshan, I really enjoyed like the studio culture and just going into school every day. Well, I guess like from the vlogs that I have on my channel, like everyone can see that I'm just like going into the studio like every single day from 9 to 6, I think. So yeah, I really enjoyed studio, just having a space to work and do everything there. And also actually getting to know the people in my unit, because I don't know if this was the case for you in year 2, but like it was really hard to like build relationships with people in second year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like online. So it was really nice this year to have that kind of unit sense of community within the unit. Sadly, we didn't get a field trip this year in my unit. But we did a lot of like Christmas parties and then like pub nights, and then we all went out together. So it was really nice to do that and like host gatherings for everyone, and then like actually become friends with everyone in the unit. It just feels very cohesive. So yeah, I really like that.
But I think also like, even though it was nice to come into the studio and nice to see everyone every day, it was also, I'm not sure it was more productive for my work, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying this.
Yeah, because I would spend lots of time talking. But then just because like it was fun, you know, it was really fun. I don't regret it because obviously I had fun. But I spent so much time like just hanging out. Because especially in contrast to like work, like real work now, like, for the actual job, like I don't talk at all. Like when I'm actually doing work.
That's so true. Yeah. Maybe no. I feel like maybe it's just because people in your unit is always in the studio. Like to me,
so chatty.
Towards the end, like I think it was only me and like 2 other people coming in.
Yeah,
so like,
but you just had to do work. Right?
Yeah, but I totally get that, because like on tutorial days when everyone comes into studio, I basically get 0 work done.
Yeah,
on that day, just talk to people. You're like, it's tutorial day. It's fine. Just chill. How about like relationships with tutors? Like, how would you say that went this year?
I think, well, I've covered this before, but I didn't think I had a super great relationship with them because I found them to be like quite hard to talk to about like
personal stuff.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do that anyway. But even about like if I was struggling academically, but I think they are like caring tutors in the sense that like they really want the best for the students and the work. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like reach out to them now. Probably.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I think this is like maybe like majority or like half the people who study at school like anyways. Yeah, so like I respect that, and I feel like there are some people like in my unit who probably have that relationship with my tutors anyways. For me, like we said this in the previous episode, but like I really like my tutors as people, and then like we asked them to be on the podcast, so like I really like talking to them. And we talk about personal stuff, so it's been really nice. I think that was one of the things that I thought was really better compared to last year, because you actually could see your tutors in person. But I think everyone just has a different experience and relationship with their tutors. Like I said, like some of my friends in my unit this year didn't have a close relationship with my tutors, so it just depends. We can talk about workload and time management this year.
Well, I thought that I probably could have managed my time better, like given myself more time off, because my time on wasn't very on either. So, like my time on, I wasn't very productive, to be honest, like looking back now. So then I feel like I could have managed my workload better, but at the same time I feel like it was quite essential for me to like spend lots of time on it, because it gave me a lot of time. I spent a lot of the time not producing, just like thinking, which is also important.
Yeah.
And I think I miss that now, like in my job. I did spend a lot of time. And I kind of liked, okay, I don't think I liked it, but I kind of, there was it gave me purpose to like think about the project constantly, like to have it like running, so that like it relates to like films that I watch, or like places that I go to, like if I go to the theaters, because I'm designing a theater. So it was also nice to have that, like to see it as like a whole thing.
Yeah, I totally feel you. Yeah, in terms of workload, I would say, I don't know if it's just like me, but then I think I struggled also with like turning my mind off when I was not in studio. I was always like thinking about the project. So I guess it's more like mindset than like workload, to be honest, because I feel like in the end workload is just for you and like managing your time well. But we talk to people, and I do think that some people think the workload is like really a lot, and like they struggle. So yeah, I guess it depends. And I guess it depends on like your time management with like how you delegate time and work. How was your time management? Did you pull all-nighters in like third year?
No.
Oh, congratulations.
I don't do.
You don't do all-nighters?
No. But I do like short sleep times.
Like
4 hours. But I think I was all right. I think there was a lot of work to do though, don't you think? Like,
yeah, looking back,
like I was like, wow, I produced this whole portfolio. Like, what the hell?
No, it's so easy to like sit here and be like, yeah, it was fine. Like school was fine, but then like in the moment, I think it was like really stressful.
Day to day, because also you're like, oh, like because day to day you don't know that you'll finish it in time. Like now looking back, like of course I finished it, but at the time I was like, maybe I wouldn't, like who knows.
Yeah, the thing I did was like I wrote a to-do list like every day, well every week, and I'm like Monday I do this, Tuesday I do this, and then like I try to follow it as much as possible for like before tutorial starts. So yeah, actually looking back, you know how I made that video about like reflecting my time in Bartlett, and then we think about in first year we did like 4 projects. I'm like, how do we have time to do that?
Yeah, true.
And like even in third year with tech, like producing the tech report like 2 weeks before final deadline submission, actually now that I think about it, it's quite insane,
Yeah, because like the whole report is so thick.
How many pages was it? Like 100 something?
Like 100 something, 200, like if you come back from.
Oh my god. Okay, workload is a lot then. Change the conclusion. Oh, and the thing that defined third year actually, that was completely different to our first and second year, was the fact that we had a summer show this year, which was like really exciting for the both of us because we've never had that. I don't think I've ever been to a Bartlett summer show, even like before I went into this school. So it's all really interesting. Like all you hear was just like seniors talking about it, and then you never like, experienced it. So it's really nice to have that this year, although I know this year they reduced the scale of it like massively because it was only located on the ground floor, but then you get to see everyone working on it together. Like, how did you find that experience?
I thought it was nice. Well, I mean, you were the head, what's it called, project lead. I was also project lead.
Oh yeah.
And I think we talked about this, but it's like kind of stressful to be project lead, I guess. Like kind of stressful to like get everyone to like do stuff, to want to do stuff at the same time, because I feel like in my unit it was pretty intense. We had like we were quite ambitious. We made like a physical display, so that means that we had to like come into studio and weld. We had to do actual welding. We had to source all these materials, like find a printing and all that kind of stuff, and like get it up and running. And I thought it was quite a big effort, but it was nice in the end.
Yeah.
But I just think that tutors also have, my tutors at least, had like a really high expectation of how it was gonna go, and how committed people would be, which I guess like, especially coming from a group of people who haven't seen summer show in person, like we don't know that it's like such a big thing. We think it's just like, put stuff up.
Random exhibition.
Yeah, you put stuff up and then you take stuff down, like I don't know. But then I think like the scale of how intense it was like kind of surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, like when you said project lead, I already forgot that like I was project lead. But yeah, like you said, I think it was definitely like stressful, especially if the tutors just like left everything to the students to decide. Because I feel like the tutors just like
Sometimes some units did that.
yeah, some of the tutors just like came and like, okay, you guys deal with it, and then like they just like take a back seat and leave. So I'm grateful that my tutors were really helpful with that. We brainstormed ideas together, but yeah, like you said, it was really hard during that time because like in June, my mom came to London, so like I wanted to like find time to spend time with her and show her around London, and then we had a trip as well. So like also everyone was basically on half holidays, so it was really hard to like get everyone there together. So then I had to make this timetable, and I was like, okay, when are you gonna be here, who's here at this time? And then I remember like the final weeks before the summer show was like fully open and we were setting up everything, like basically more than half the unit like wasn't there, or like half, because like everyone was just like
on holiday, right? Like,
yeah,
you can't expect people to be there as well.
and then you can't like force them to come in, but then someone has to do the work, right? So it's just like really stressful.
It's a bit shitty. It falls on like very few people, I feel, sometimes.
Yeah,
in the end.
some of our friends were like complaining about their units and the fact that they were just doing everything, and then they were really mad at like other people who didn't show up. But yeah, like during my trip to Germany, like in June, because I wasn't there, and then I felt really bad that I wasn't like helping physically, so like I just did the unit 3 catalog, which was like I still felt better because I was like actually helping with stuff, but the catalog turned out pretty well, so I was really happy about that. But like to be fair, at the very end I did find a lot of joy in setting up the summer show with like the rest of my friends in unit 3, because I felt like it was a cohesive effort, like everyone was helping each other, and it was nice because then we got like the ladders, and then we had to drill holes in the wall and like set up the frames and everything. So yeah, I'm really glad that like at least people in my unit, like they're really helpful in like, you know, asking people to get their stuff together, and then like ordering the frames, putting it into the frames, and then like setting up the wall and everything. So yeah, it was nice. I remember seeing like one of the unit's walls being completely empty.
That's 5.
I love it. You just told them.
That's so funny.
Oh wait, no, 5 doesn't exist anymore, so it's fine.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, unit 5. Yeah, their wall was completely empty, and I think I didn't even see the people actually putting it together, but then they did last minute, and then when I showed up to the opening, I was like, oh, okay, they managed to put it in on time.
But I think it's interesting to see. I feel like it was also quite competitive, like between units, because you're like, oh, what are they doing? Like, what are they doing? Everyone wants to find out what everyone else is doing. But it was like kind of cute as well. But like, as long as you don't take it too seriously, I think.
Yeah, sometimes. Well, hopefully the tutors don't take it too seriously. You know, like when there's drama between the different units with the tutors, and then they send emails passive aggressively,
like,
and then it's like, to be fair, it's more entertaining if anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then like with the summer show opening, I thought it was just really nice. You know, like at the end when everything was done, and then you stand there, you look at everyone's work, you're like, oh my god, this is like everyone's work, and then you get like friends and family to come visit, and then you can. Well, I know like your parents, your family couldn't come visit, but like I showed my mom around the summer show and like my friends, and it was just really nice to see like, oh, this is the work that we've done, and this is the work that my friend from another unit has done. So it's just really nice to like put it all there. And yeah, and then apparently this was also like a good networking opportunity
to get
apparently.
jobs. I think also quite a lot of people got approached through it, like to get jobs and stuff.
Yeah,
like, quite a few did, I think.
Yeah, like quite a handful of people did. And then I mean, I think this one company also reached out to me from like looking at my drawings, but yeah, I don't know like what the percentages or everything or anything, but yeah, that is the thing. And then the next point is comparing our third year to first and second year. Like, how did you feel as a general, like as a whole?
I think it was better. Like, it was the best year, but it's because it's because I know my design direction and stuff this year. I had a feel of how it would go. I feel like second year is a very good dry run for third year because it's exactly the same, more or less. So some more tech stuff. But I think also it's just like knowing the people better. It was nice.
What about compared to like first year?
Oh, first year wasn't that great. I don't know. I didn't really enjoy my first year.
Really? Okay.
It was alright in the end, but like at the time I was like, oh, this is so stressful. But
you think it's because like it's a new environment and like you don't know what the hell was happening in first year?
I think so.
Yeah.
No, and also it's like it was stressful in first year. We had the in-person stuff in Dalston. Like that was quite stressful, I thought, for like a first year.
Like the building project.
Yeah, the group project especially.
The installation project.
Yeah. Oh wait, yeah,
Walmer Yard.
Walmer Yard, yeah.
Yes.
That was stressful, and then Dalston was also stressful. Visiting the site was stressful.
Yeah. Okay. Like for me, I feel like, well, yeah, I agree with you. Third year was like the best year. I think it's a combination of, like you said, like, you know, more or less what your design direction is. Like, you kind of know what you like. You can build off of the skills you developed in second year. And like you said, second year was kind of similar to third year. The only difference being like we had the P module, like the making your own company module.
Oh, right.
And tech was different. Like third year tech was so much better and they gave you more support. And I think also one thing that made third year better was that the tutors genuinely wanted you to do well as well for third year. At least I felt like that. Like I felt
As
like
opposed to what, second year?
Yeah, like don't you feel like the tutors just give you like more, I don't know, care or support in like third year?
It's true. They do want third years to do well.
Yeah, like as in like in the units, I feel like in general in the units, I think tutors want to help like third year do better. And also like design tech module, like we get like actual tutors for each unit, like for that specific unit. Whereas like in second year, one tutor got like 5 units. So like I feel like they this year just like a lot more supportive. Yeah, and then compared to, well, yeah, and also just the fact that it's like in person compared to like virtually in second year. So you have like stronger bonds and you know your people, your friends, so it's really nice. But compared to first year, which was also in person, yeah, I was gonna say that first year was just more like figuring out like what you're doing with your life in uni. Because like being an overseas student and then like living alone, finding friends, I think that made it like a lot more difficult. And then also we didn't know what Bartlett was like just as a school as a whole, so we didn't know what we were getting into. And the installation project was really stressful, the building project was stressful, and then the building project, which was the final project, like half of it was remote as well, which I
actually better for me.
Really, I think my project just turned really bad.
Really? I thought it was nice.
Yeah, okay, to each experience, but like I think my project just went really badly towards the end because I struggled with like just staying at home and everything. So yeah, I think that was how I felt. So I guess we're in consensus that third year was better. I always tell people this, like in Bartlett, that like the years will just get better like as you go, you know?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, hopefully. It sounds really bad. I don't know.
No, I feel like everyone just will have that phase of like uni being really tough in like first year, you know?
True.
And it doesn't help that Bartlett is so stressful as well.
Yeah,
high workload. And then I wrote about, well, actually stress was a point that I wanted to discuss as well, because I think this is one of the things that people always like consider and talk about when they like go into Bartlett or like considering going into Bartlett is like stress. So obviously I think there was like the controversy of like the Howlett Brown Report, like that released like 5 months ago, and it was like a really huge thing, and then I think everyone was talking about it. Like when I went to like job interviews, like the interviewers were like asking me about the report, so I was like, okay, this is a big thing. Yeah.
But I think, what do you think about the report?
Yeah, so like my opinion on the report is the fact that like I talked about this also in like the Bartlett review video that I made, but my thoughts were that like I felt really sad and disappointed that was like they collected so much of these like stories from like past years that people experience all these horrible things, and like I'm in a way like invalidating their experience, right? Because I feel like it's so sad that this has to happen like in the school that we study in, but like we don't know anything about it. But like at the same time, I feel like it's important to think about the fact that like this is like data collected like spanning over 30 years, so it like might not reflect how the school is at the current moment. And I do feel like in third year, at least from my point of view, maybe it's also my experience in my unit, that the tutors really care about mental health and they were always there to support me when I was feeling really stressed. But I felt like Bartlett already like placed a lot of like emphasis on like mental health this year already, especially with like the crit layouts and everything. And like I think they're also being extra careful with like what the tutors are saying, because I feel like when I read some of the stuff in the report, like I can feel like it can be taken the wrong way, like if someone was joking, you know, but it depends on what the tone is, and we'll never know how it was like said in that specific moment. But yeah, I think in general it just sounds really sad, and I do think the report takes out a lot of like, you know, positive experiences, because like who's gonna write a report on like positive experiences at school, you know? So it's just all of these like negative stuff being like collected together, and like it just kind of like takes, like it neglects some of the positive experiences at school, at least from my point of view.
And it was quite like specific to very individual experiences. Like it wasn't very like general. It's not like everyone felt this way. It was like, and the way it called out specific people was also a bit like, wow, it's a bit
intense.
Yeah, it was quite intense.
Yeah,
but maybe it was good. And also but it actually had an effect though. Like they changed so many of the tutors this year.
Yeah,
because of it.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that there was like a new unit system this year, which I don't know how I feel about it. I'm like a bit about it, but like it's a run, you know, it's a pilot. So let's see how it goes. I've been hearing about like people's feedback this year. Some of them say like, obviously in the beginning they were like saying it's so bad, but now I think it seems okay. Like as long as people get like the unit that they want, I think it's nice. But I'm not sure, obviously. I just don't think it's fair that people don't have a chance to fight for the unit they want to get in if they remove the interview process and you can't fight for it. You know, if you want to go into a unit for like their specific methodology, like modeling or like film or like drawing, and then you can't pick it, I don't think that's fair.
That's true.
And then the other thing I wanted to talk about the report is that I felt like you can technically only participate in it, like in the bulk of it, if you have something quote unquote negative to say, right? If you don't have negative stuff to say, you won't really be participating in it. And the only part that technically we did participate was like the questionnaire, the survey at the end. And I actually felt so sad when I looked at the survey, because I remember one of them was like, my mental health has decreased after joining the Bartlett, and it was like so many people who like said agree, and I thought that was so sad, which is why I wanted to do like workshops this year, but it's still in the works. I'm not sure about the room bookings and stuff, but yeah, I think in general it's just so sad. But then I think it's also important to note the fact that like when you go into any like course or like any university courses, like architecture especially, which is such a high stress environment, that you're just gonna have to face stress and like people giving you criticism. Like it's not gonna be like smooth sailing, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's how I felt about the report, you know.
Yeah, but also I guess we had overall positive experience, which is quite different from other people. Like I feel like some people were really in fact affected. Not people wouldn't drop out, take a gap year, interrupt, and which tons of people do. So
yeah, did you speak to someone in like third year who had like a more negative experience and they like dropped out?
Well, I know one of my friends interrupted and is continuing this year, but I think that person did it for their own reasons as well, as in like they weren't happy with the project and the way it was going, rather than they were receiving bad criticisms from a particular person, or they wanted to change tutor or something.
I see.
So,
yeah, everyone like I guess struggles in their own way.
I think a lot of times you put pressure on yourself as well to make like a perfect project. Contribute to it.
Yeah. Anyways, but the Bartlett is making changes, so let's see how that goes, and hopefully it goes well. Yeah, and then the thing with stress, I also talked about managing relationships with tutors, we did talk about. And then also just in general, like managing your own work-life balance, because I feel like if that balance is out of whack, you're just more susceptible to like having mental health like issues. And then you tend to like, I feel like sometimes when tutor says something, you can like magnify it and make it like seem really bad, even though it's like a side comment or something, and then you make it into like a really big thing, you know.
No, for sure, because I feel like even it would affect my mood for the week, like whatever happened, you know, which is quite bad as well. Like whatever they said.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, it is a lot of like stuff to think about, like at school, like work, stress, mental health, all these things. So I think it's just really important to like try to keep yourself like mentally healthy and physically healthy, and just be like try to be on top of things, even though it's like really hard, you know. And then the last thing we wanted to talk about is like moving forward. Well, obviously now we have jobs, but I thought it was really nice to talk about like moving forward. In terms of like career opportunities, and then talk about other industries and stuff. Well, we can kind of like pick it up from like what happened after the summer show, like after we graduated and all those stuff.
Well, I think that everyone wants to find it, usually not everyone. Most people would want to find a job in architecture after
part one
graduating. Yeah, as a part one architectural assistant, and I think it was quite stressful at the start, right? Because I feel like people were like getting offers like through summer show or through their tutors, and it was like, so it felt like it was like a rat race, and I was like, and we were all like, and I don't know, at the time I felt like it was really stressful, because it was like some people would just get it naturally, or like they knew they would had a job in the like waiting for them, and other people you just have to apply otherwise. And I guess even for us, like especially with visa, you have to apply for the visa as well, so then that would determine whether we stay or not if you get a job. So it was like a whole thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was like stressful. Well, because I went to New York like over summer as well, so then like I didn't like have that much time to apply. Well, we can talk about this more in like the next episode with job related. But yeah, I think it was definitely like a lot of people had jobs lined up for them with like their tutors connections and like through the summer show and stuff. And I think it was just a really natural step to like take for like your next phase in your life, you know, like after you graduate from school, like time to get a job, and then like it's gonna be part one, and then, you know, after part one you're gonna do the whole like architecture timeline thing. And then yeah, I think it was fair like that. The only thing that I do wanted to talk about, like about jobs and like related to school, is the fact that like I felt like Bartlett didn't give us like that much help looking for careers.
That's true.
Yeah,
Especially compared to other schools, like even talking to other people at work now, they were like, oh, didn't she get like portfolio workshops, like and I'm like, no,
yeah,
I got portfolio workshops for like school portfolio, but not like work portfolio.
exactly. Yeah, that was like the one thing I wish like third year was better, is that like helping
That's
us
true.
for like our next step. It's just
Even, like just getting you to know what's out there,
right.
like because not everyone wants to be a part one either. You could go into like visualization or like animation, and like that's totally fine. Like you shouldn't have to do it all by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, we had that one lecture where they were talking to us about like the help they provided, but like I didn't find it like that helpful. And
The job fair was pretty helpful, but even then it wasn't very well advertised.
yeah, and the job fair is not like you talk to them and then like you're gonna secure a job or anything. I don't know, it was just like I just didn't think it was that helpful. Like when you compare it to like other schools, like, well, we talked to our friend from the AA, like Architectural Association,
Oh, that's so good.
and then they gave them like not newsletters, it's like
emails.
yeah, like an email every week with a list of like companies that are like looking for part one assistants or like positions you can apply for, and it just got a lot of help. But like I didn't, like as a whole, I didn't get a lot of help. It was only until like when I thought I was struggling, and then I reached out to my tutor, and then like he gave me like some help with making portfolios and stuff, and then regarding like sending emails to like companies and stuff. So like I just wish that Bartlett gave us more help on that front. But yeah, that was what I think with careers opportunities.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah, that's a big thing, because I feel like even the types of firms that are like, it wasn't really talked about even when we were in uni.
Yeah.
Like what firms, like types of firms are out there and what you do after. You'd have to do it yourself.
Yeah. Oh well, that was kind of like our summary of like third year, I would say. Overall, I think third year was the best. We agreed on that. And I think it was just really nice this year. Also, I mean, in general, just like being in London, like talking to people, and then like kind of like building the life you want. Like this is like our first full like actual year being in university, you know.
Especially because I think we were all gonna stay on anyway. So then it's sort of like it provides a basis for like when you stay on, the friends that you have and where you want to live and stuff.
Yeah, looking back, this is like the last question maybe. Looking back, do you think you made the right choice, like when you graduated from high school to go to Bartlett?
Yeah, I mean, it was my only choice. So I kind of had to go.
No,
but like it was good though. Like it was just really stressful, especially now comparing to work. It was sometimes unnecessarily stressful, but also I know I did put it on myself.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that like I came, and like all the experiences that I had like throughout, like I think it just grew a lot as a person, you know. We had this conversation, we were like saying like when you're at the end of high school and you're like, oh, I grew up a lot, and then like at the end of uni you're like, no, I actually grew more. And then now we're like gonna work, and
no, I'm growing so much like now though at work.
Exactly. So yeah, it was a really nice experience, just like going through university, and yeah, that was our reflection for third year. Do you have anything else to add?
At the time, it always feels tougher. Looking back, it always seems easier than it is. So I can appreciate how like it sounds like it was chill, but it really wasn't that chill all the time. Also, I feel like we broke down quite a lot. Like, well, maybe you didn't. I did. I would have weeks where I'll be like totally down.
No, I had that, remember? And
we
also
all did broke down.
yeah, and like remember when we were like rushing for final submission, I was like so, I don't know, I was so stressed, I was so intense, and then like I just like didn't hang out with anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does get stressful at some point, but you know, in the end, looking back, you're like, oh, it was nice.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
yeah, thank you so much for joining us for this episode, and we hope it was insightful, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Do you want to say bye?
Oh, bye.